Alright, basically I want to make a short video for people on how to get through gang stalking, how to beat gang stalking. When I say beat gang stalking, it's very simple. If you can walk up to somebody and tell them you're being gang stalked, then you already beat it. How can you speak to somebody and tell them, I'm being gang stalked, I beat gang stalking, if you didn't beat it? So if you lost that gang stalking, you wouldn't even be able to talk about it. So you already beat it. Just walk up to the person, tell them who you are, tell them what gang stalking is, and just tell them what's going on. It's as simple as that. I've been gang stalked all over the place, all over the country. I used to go around and tell people constantly what gang stalking was, approach them, let them know that this is a system set up where they wear these different colors, come near me, and it's a system. There's one aspect of it called pass it along, where I can move from one area of town to the next area, any city, any place in the world. And one group of people will be following me, wearing these different colors, doing street theater, doing mimicking. And when I reach a certain point, another group of people intercept me. That's the pass it along tactic. So you're constantly being passed along from new people, new people, new people. Each person that you walk up to and you speak to about gang stalking, don't ever trip off their response to you. A lot of them will know what gang stalking is. They'll know that this is a way to psychologically try to cause you some sort of discomfort. A lot of them may look at it like a spiritual thing. There's a whole lot of different sorts of people who do this stuff. Some of the people don't know anything at all. They believe they're doing some assignment for whatever reason. This is for your betterment or whatever the purpose is. Some of them are coming from Christian groups. They think they're doing it for God. Others of them think it's some sort of patriotic duty. You'll come across all different types. So when you approach the person, don't ever be scared. Don't ever be afraid. Just approach them, speak to them. Most of the time, these people will be more afraid of you than you are of them. And there's all sorts of little things. Sometimes they'll wear sunglasses. These people aren't in any special group or any secret project thing. These are just average people walking the streets. They get asked to do assignments and come through apps on the phone, through Facebook. Somebody can see somebody stand on a corner, walk up to them, give them $10 to walk past you a few different times. The person, their relevance is nothing beyond what they've been financed with. So if you're constantly being followed by one person or three people, or maybe it's five people you get followed by regularly, whatever they got financed to do that assignment, they're not worth more than that. So don't ever get trip off it and make a big deal out of it and put it up more than what it is. It's really a small thing, but it's happening constantly. And so that's what makes it more than what it is you're seeing oh my God, these people over here are doing, these people over there are doing, these people over there are doing it. And that's what creates the big issue. And so, first things, go stand on a corner. Just go stand on a corner. This is mainly for the people who first start getting gang stalked. Go stand on a corner and then watch the cars come through with the brightening. And then just start waving at them. Start waving at them. Smile at them. Start waving at them like that. Walk down the street. As the cars come with the brightening, just start waving at them. Just start waving at them. When you get the opportunity, approach the person and tell them who you are. You can give them your first and last name. You can just give them a nickname, whatever you feel comfortable with, and speak to them and ask them, do they know what gang stalking is? Just ask them. Say, hey, I noticed you're wearing this certain color shirt. I go through something called gang stalking. This is who I am. Do you know what gang stalking is? They're going to say, they may even be honest with you and say, yeah, I know what it is. Or they may say, I've never heard of it. And they may actually have not ever heard of it. Then you let them know at that point what it means to you, what you've been going through and what you've been experiencing. Even if this individual continues to do assignments against you, their whole perception of where you're coming from and what's going on is going to change. And that's a metaphysical operation. That's in the spiritual world. Words have power. Words have a lot of power. Use your words to change the makeup, the nature of what's going on around you. If you walk into a store and you recognize a group of people standing there, and you know they're there doing an assignment, somebody asked them specifically to be there. They don't have to know who you are. They don't have to know what gang stalking is. But you know they're there for the purpose of gang stalking. It's been coordinated in that way. When you walk in there, speak on it. Tell the cashier in front of the people, open up the subject of gang stalking. Just talk about it a little bit. And say, oh, are you familiar with these assignments, these different types of things? It'll change the nature of the room, and you'll feel it spiritually. You'll feel it within your vibration. you'll come across all sorts of complex aspects of gang stalking. I remember I was staying in Phoenix for a couple weeks, and where I was staying at this it was over in the Glendale area. First I went from downtown, then I went to the Glendale area, and the hotel I was at, the people literally took over the whole place. The person working there, they put a new person in, and they changed their hair color of the individual working the desk. They changed the whole makeup of the hotel based on gang stalking. So everything that was going on, the people coming in, the people coming out, every time I left, the cab drivers, I go out to different sorts of stores and interact with people, and the whole thing was set up to purposely do assignments on me. Now, these people had no idea. Most of them didn't know what gang stalking was. They even hired a guy purposely to work security there who would come around and flash a light. He would walk right by me and flash a light while the lights were on at the hotel. So he was doing a brightening tactic by flashing the light on. And sometimes I would speak to these people. I would speak to them. I'd get to know them, and I would say, "Do you know what gang stalking is?" Yada yada. The man didn't even know who I was. He didn't even know why he was doing it. He was just asked to walk by me and flash a light. That's all he knew. And so, at that point in my life, this was right when I first started realizing what gang stalking was. At that point in my life, I learned the best way to go through your life with gang stalking is to be more vocal about it. A lot of times people will hide, they're paranoid, they don't want anybody to know. If you're going through this, you don't want to live like that. That's number one. And so if somebody isn't going through gang stalking, they have no right to tell you how to live your life if you're going through it. Until they go through it, then they have no say in whatever. So if your friends and family are trying to tell you, be quiet, don't do this, or there's something wrong with you, whatever, they're not going through the circumstance. So they have no voice in it. They have no voice at all in what you're going through until they go through it. So be as vocal as you can, but there's ways on how to do it. You don't always have to go out and immediately tell people whatever. Like sometimes I would go to restaurants and I would go up to the people that were working there and tell them specifically who I was. And tell them that it's possible they may be asked to drug my food. One of the times they still did drug my food at a restaurant, and that was after I even told them. And so for people who are going through like what you call covert drugging, now you have to go to a buffet. So the food is prepared differently at a buffet, and so now you don't have to go through that obstacle, or you can go out and get your own food and prepare it by yourself, and that's the way to get through that. There's all sorts of steps you can take to ensure that you will end up at the end of the day feeling gratitude that, hey, I got through this obstacle, I'd made it successfully. And I know how it is. I know exactly what's going on. There's a barrage of people constantly doing these little assignments, and it feels like a little circus. Like you go to a store and you got these people outside wearing all these different color shirts. It's kind of like circus monkeys or something. That's the impression that's the impression I get when I go out and I see this stuff. But you just keep going through. You just keep going to the stores. You keep talking to people. Eventually you'll come across friends who are close to you, and those people will be asked to do assignments. A really good person, if they know they're harming you, they won't want to do that. So a lot of times if somebody really cares about you, they'll talk to you about it. If they see it's really bothering you, they'll talk to you about it. Obviously, some people just don't care. So forget those people. Don't ever spend a lot of energy trying to connect with somebody who's doing the gang stalking. Because again, those people aren't worth any more than what they're not worth any more than the restaurant discount coupon to begin with. So it doesn't matter. But if you feel that you can make a bond with somebody and they're vocal about it, like I've had friends who have done assignments on me, but then they would come hang out with me right afterwards and explain to me a little bit about what was going on. And so I was like, okay, this is like a circumstance I can accept because now I'm learning. Now I'm learning from it. And so you may find people who do assignments on you. They'll teach you a little bit about what's going on. And it's all about having a better life. Like, it's not really about trying to get the ultimate secrets of what's going on, because the people who are doing the assignments, they're not going to have any ultimate secrets to begin with. If they can get out there and follow you around on the street, then they're not... If you can see them, then they're not going to have anything really anyway to go off of. But you want to live this life the best you can on a day-to-day basis. So talking to other target individuals is another step. Getting out there and talking to people and telling them what happened to you, your stories. Even if bad stuff's happened to you and people don't understand, or people people may think you're paranoid or whatever, who cares? Who cares what anybody thinks? You know what gang stalking is. You know you're going through it, and there's millions around people around the world going through it. There's people within the public who speak about gang stalking now. Like, it comes out on the news. I've seen news clips. There was even a police officer who was talking about gang stalking, and he said it was real. And he said it was an issue. So there's honest people out there who are willing to help people who are going through gang stalking. And it's nothing for the people who are doing it to people. All it is a system set up to harm a person psychologically or spiritually. A lot of these people will go out and get a gun and go shooting people, which is a horrible thing, and it's going on. There's people who will take some drugs and kill themselves. There's people who will move on to become like demoralized and live their life. There's nothing. That's like, to me, I don't get it. To me, it's sick. To me, it's sick. The whole thing's sick to me. But it's just something that exists. You know, you can't really judge it. It's just something that exists. But you'll meet people out there who are more accepting of your circumstances, and you'll build a bond with them or whatever. But I've spoken to like between 20 and 30 people who go through gang stalking around the world. And all of them contacted me originally either to tell their story, because I had a YouTube channel one time that was really popular, and I ended up taking the channel down for various reasons. But the people got a chance to speak with me, learn some of my advice, learn some of my tactics. I got a chance to learn from them. And what I learned is creating a bond between the people who are going through it is the biggest thing. That's where the power is. The people who are orchestrating the assignments, the people you don't see and the people you see, they really have no power. It's only what you make out of it. If you allow somebody to disturb your consciousness, that's on you. You know what I mean? Yeah, these people have nefarious agendas, and they want to see you down, and they want to try to get power out of it. They want to feel like big people out of seeing you get harmed, and they're profiting off it, but so what? So there's all kinds of people out there like that. It's what you give it, you know? So stay focused, and spirituality is number one. A lot of this has to do with the chakra system, the 7 chakras. There's no accident that red is used a lot. Red is the root chakra. That has to do with your survival and your fear center. So when you repeatedly see patterns of this red color every single day, and it's orchestrated in a way to make you scared, it's going to create a spiritual dynamic, right? A very spiritual dynamic. So getting into prayer, meditation, always staying focused on a goal. Always keep an optimistic perspective and stay focused on a goal. In any situation you get into in life, no matter how dangerous it is, or no matter how dim it seems, always keep an optimistic perspective. That's number one. You can get through almost anything if you keep an optimistic perspective and learn from what's going on and try to keep going. Like, I'm somebody who's very deeply spiritual, and so I believe the spiritual realm is number one. I've always believed that. I believe the spiritual realm is number one, and the physical realm only comes from the spiritual realm. I've always believed that. I always will believe that, because it's true. So so even if you're an atheist, get into spirituality and talk to the people. If somebody does not believe your story and they want you to have some sort of help, or they think you're maybe like a drug addict or something like that, just keep explaining to the people and talking to them. I had a woman who did work with some sort of psychiatric group, and I kept explaining to her what gang stalking was and how I go through it, and she ended up telling me that she believed in me 100%. And so I was like, wow, I was kind of shocked that happened. And then I had a situation where I've had people that I'm related to, they didn't understand what was happening to me. And I kept explaining it to them. I kept going over it with them. I kept showing them different perspectives, and then they finally said, wow, man, that's crazy that you have to live like that. And so eventually it got to a thing to where I was able to shift into a state of being to where I felt secure in my environment. And so if I go to an area right now, I haven't been very active in trying to meet new people and explain to them what gang stalking was. But if I go to an area right now that I've never been in, I know I got about 3 days in that area to outdo the people who are trying to create the assignments. So I'll immediately start contacting people, giving them information, telling them who I am, telling them what gang stalking is, like showing them a positive perspective, be upstanding, like ask them if they need help. Like you want to try to be charitable, right? So if you see somebody, they need help moving something, you can ask them if they need help with that. You can give people advice on things. And so through your character, you can show those people around you who you are and try to remain in a balanced way. And you will keep manifesting through this stuff like that. I've seen a lot of different situations where some people just don't care. So you move on. Don't spend too much energy on that. You just move. You say, okay, this is who I am. This is what gang stalking is. Yada yada yada. Don't try to get angry about it or anything. Just move on and keep going and keep going and keep going. And new people. Gang stalking operates through anything. I've seen it firsthand. Gang stalking can operate through anything, and so I never look at anybody as being somebody who is going to miraculously change the gang stalk. Like, they're not going to stop it anyway. I haven't seen it. So I always count on myself. I always count on myself to manifest out of things. And, you empower the person, you try to keep a positive attitude, and then people will see your character like, wow, man, that's real. What he's talking about is real. How long will it take you to get used to gang stalking? 5-6 weeks. 5-6 weeks. But after a year, you're going to get complacent in it, and you're going to build a foundation to where you kind of lose interest in trying to feel as you did before you got gang stalked. Like, before you got gang stalked, your life was completely different. So within a year, you're going to become sensitized to gang stalking to where you're not really going to be looking to experience. You're going to know gang stalking is going to be happening constantly. Then after a couple of years, it's going to turn into a sort of a thing to where you're going to want to create a platform. You're going to want to say, okay, I'm living like this. How can I keep living like this and still have success in my life? So you're going to have to use all this stuff around you that's happening in a method to get jobs. In a method to create, you may want to speak on the internet or speak. You may want to be a writer and write your stories and share it with people. You may want to do it through art, but you're going to want to create some sort of platform to keep it alive, to keep what's going, to keep who you are and your story alive and all that stuff. After about 3 years, what's been going on with me this summer, it'll be 3 years. So I haven't been going through 3 years, but this summer will be 3 years. I don't really feel, to be honest with you, I think I feel more empowered now than I did before I got gang stalked. Before I got gang stalked, I didn't really see how fragile the world was. After a lot of stuff that I have experienced and the gang stalking I've gone through, I view the world a completely different place. I see the world as being far more fragile than what it is, and I see that people are far more, regular people look a lot weaker. A regular person, I can tell by looking at somebody by the way they walk down the street what they've been through and what they can handle, what they can go through. And regular people look far much more weaker than before I went through it. And so I wouldn't classify myself as a regular person, as a regular person walking the streets. I would say that that my awarenesses and my knowledge and my capabilities after experiencing all this stuff, it just is a whole different level. My level is just different. And so it's kind of sort of blessed me in that sort of way. Now, I'm going to say it. A lot of people are going to want to have relationships. A lot of people are going to want to have relationships in their life. And again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the people being asked to do the assignments. Just keep creating solid foundations with people. Just keep creating solid foundations with people. And eventually you will have what you want, or you may not want people to be that close in your life. There's a reason for everything. You may not want somebody to be around you that much if you're going through gang stalking. That person may end up getting messed with. Depending on who you are and the level of gang stalking you go through, the people will be asked to do assignments naturally. But I guess I've had friends who said, man, this one woman, they kept messing with her Facebook and doing all this different stuff, like calling her phone and stuff. Eventually, she got frustrated, and that's how they got her to do the assignments. But sometimes they won't. Sometimes I've come across people who I could see would not do the assignments for whatever reason. But it still created an uncomfortable situation because I was going through the assignment. But most people will, like 99.9 will. So you're going to have to get used to just living different. I don't see anything spectacular about the way most people are living anyway in the world. So if you consider yourself a target individual and you're going through gang stalking, don't view yourself as being a victim or view yourself as being down. I mean, and this isn't in a negative way, but just look at the way people live in general. Most people are over-entertained. They're not very spiritually complacent. They don't have the dedication to the spiritual world. They don't have any esoteric background. They may have gone on to, they may be very successful and say, oh man, this guy or this woman, they got a nice job, they got a family, they got a car, whatever like that. A lot of this stuff looks good from the outside. But I would say the whole Western culture is targeted in one way or another, ultimately anyway. So I say the family unit. I say the family unit in America is under attack. And I'm not putting that on any specific person or group or saying, it's a corporation or the government or whatever. I'm just saying in general, just the way people live is very under attack. What they do within their own lives, the way they eat, the way they think, the messages they listen to, and all this stuff, it doesn't look like something that great to begin with. Some people do better than others, so you got to remind yourself that you're not the only person in the world with issues. Yeah, you're being gang stalked and you're going through all this stuff, but there's other people walking around that got problems of their own. There's people dying of cancer. There's people dying of HIV. There's people with drug addictions. There's people who are going through worse stuff. So if you can create a complacent point in your life to where you feel you're doing good and you're doing better, you're outdoing people who are doing marvelous. They got a nice job, but they're not going through the obstacles you're going through. And so just to create a complacent life, you're going to view yourself as an overachiever. With the gang stalking, it can make you better in many ways. I was creating courses for people, and I was feeling a lot of success. And lately, I've been coming back to that. I've been speaking to more people about the nature of gang stalking and what it can do for you. And so, like I said, I was the first person in the world to come online and say, no, that's the interesting part. Nobody had ever said they beat gang stalking. And so I said, yeah, I beat it. And, every single day I'm doing new stuff and coming up with different stuff. Like it's a spiritual thing. I just keep recreating what's going on around me and keep figuring out new stuff and doing new stuff. And it just keep it rolling no matter what, and so whoever is going through gang stalking, I got advice for them. Like I said, the pass it along strategy. Get comfortable with the pass it along. That's all you got to do. That's the first step. When you move from one area to another, the people doing the assignments, they're not going to be the ones orchestrating it to begin with, but you're going to notice it's getting this gang stalking stuff is following you. And so get comfortable with the people, start talking to them, get used to the tactics they're using, and create through voice, that creates vibration. And that vibration will manifest you through this. That's magic. It's a form of magic. Basically, what I'm talking about is using magic. But it's so simple, it looks strange. It doesn't look like it's real, but that's what it is. And so, it's all you got to do. Start waving at the people, talking to the people, let them know who you are, let them know what gang stalking is. Constantly try to keep a foundation going. Reach out to other people that are going through it. and create a bond and build and rely on nobody but yourself. So that's number one right there. There's other things I do and there's other steps I take. This is maybe a little difficult for people to grasp, but the technology doesn't mean anything. Technology is nothing. A lot of the stuff that they mimic you through, like you have a telephone, and if you say anything around your phone, there's audio input, they can hear you, they mimic it back to you. You know, the text messages, the emails, all this different stuff. The best intelligence and the best way to get to somebody is to get to them through another person. It's social. So technology, a lot of people are worried about the technology. They say, "Oh my God, they're gang stalking me," and they can want the technology is nothing. Isn't there's no power in technology. The greatest tool to get to somebody is to have somebody close to them do it and to get to know what you're thinking and how you're feeling. That's where all the power is. It's spiritually coming from within you. How do you think? That's what the gang stalking is based off of, is messing with your consciousness and your spiritual essence. They're messing with you from within you, not from outside of you. The goal is to mess within you, spiritually and psychologically. So I don't care if they got satellites from Deep Space Nine that can, whatever, Star Trek. Whatever. That doesn't mean nothing. They can keep. They'll need all that stuff. Let them have it. But what you got to do is create through vibration, through frequency, through energy, and manifest like that. Like nobody can pay anybody to create your thoughts for you. Nobody can mess with time. Money can't buy 1 second of time. Money can't buy thoughts. Money can't buy your energy, your relationship with other people. How you do that? No one has any effect on that. So the technology doesn't mean anything to begin with. So start with your bonds with other people, the energy states you're in, the impressions you give off. That's where all the power is. You know, that's where it's at. And so a lot of stuff that I'm into going through gang stalking is metaphysical. And if you're getting targeted, you're going to have to get into that quick. You're going to have to get a spiritual essence about it. That's one thing it'll do, is make you more of a spiritual person, which most people don't have. Most people claim to be, like Christians or Muslim or Jewish or whatever. There's a lot of people out there who claim to be religious. They're not religious. They don't believe in that stuff. Just watch them gang stalk you. Watch all. They don't believe in that stuff. They're controlled. They operate for something completely different. They're under the influence of something. You will know them by their fruits. You will know them by their fruits. Just keep that in mind, and keep a positive attitude.